32 minutes. 32 minutes to talk. Anyways, anywho, let me just adjust this. I'm not sure how cameras work, but then that's the whole point of learning, ain't it? You're confused, and you're no longer confused. Then, motherfucker, imagine starting a video and you don't have a topic. So, I've been feeling conflicted as of late. I'm just curious, how do I look though? Cause I can't tell. See, when you don't have a camera, you use your phone. I've been feeling quite conflicted lately, in the sense of conflicted. What exactly does that mean? Well, within your mind exist different ideas, some close to your core belief system, some not so close to your core belief system. Who knows, maybe we have multiple belief systems, combination of all of them. So conflicted refers to that state of having, holding two major ideas close to each other that aren't really coherent with the thing, that don't have any sense of resonance or something like that. I'm pretty sure I explained that perfectly with my stuttering and interesting choice of words, vocabulary, etc., etc. I don't feel the need to be perfect when I speak. I just don't. For what? Play with your words. Anyways, just so I don't go on a tangent, I've been feeling conflicted lately. On the one hand, a part of me is like, I have to be strong. On the other hand, a part of me is like, motherfucker, fuck me, fuck life, fuck everything. And it gets quite funny, because it's like, now I'm not even sure if this camera is filming me, I'm just gonna move it again. I don't have to be perfect. Progress, not perfection. That's what, you can't say gays anymore. Yeah, but I can see how that would be insulting. That's what gays say. Especially in the sense of if you go around your whole life facing judgment from everyone, I can see how one person's words can trigger you. As opposed to if someone were to insult me, it would be like whatever, because if I don't go throughout my whole life facing judgment. But I'm not here to talk about gays. That was a joke, partly. Anyways, it was satirical. Who says joke can't be true? Anyways, um, conflicted. I've been feeling kind of conflicted as of late. On the one hand, I understand that I should play the long game and I should get stronger, etc., etc. And that consistency, small acts compound, and that if I can just read, meditate, do all this shit every day, eventually I'll get better and open up my mind. Since the whole point of life is experience, right? So you kind of want to expand your consciousness mentally and physically. I'm not sure, well, that would be implying that you physically have but I assume they're all interconnected, so you kind of get the idea. You want to experience more things physically, just like how you want to open up your mind mentally. So it's quite interesting because of, at face value, that seems like the obvious game to play. But on the other hand, a part of me is really not content or satisfied with what's going on, and I guess it's it might be because of I'm comparing it to a mental image that I hold. I was about to say mental image that I hold in my head, but that's redundancy, ain't it? Because mental already implies that it's in my head. Anyways, who said school was useless? Well, I did. Anyways, yeah, it's interesting because on the one hand, you kind of just wanna, I want to say get rich now, but you kind of just wanna engage in novel activities right now and then just kind of forget about life. But on the other hand, you understand that if you engage in these novel activities, because of cause and effect, you'll be neglecting the bigger picture, meaning you'd be holding yourself back, etc., etc. Delayed gratification, blah blah. So it gets quite interesting. Now, of course, you want to balance between the two. But that's not really what I want to say. I've just been feeling conflicted in the sense of like at some point, you're not necessarily asking yourself what's the point. You just kind of frustrated because of, I don't know. It's like a lack of clarity. Despite knowing what the main goal is, you just don't seem to be interested. Now, it could be like a biological issue in that um, sometimes where you are physically, like in terms of hormonally, can affect what you're thinking about and like your level of clarity. It could also be psychological in the sense of like sometimes an idea just doesn't make sense to you. But I'd assume it's biological in the sense of like, what does that mean? In the sense of like, I understand that like mentally everything seems clear. It's like a one, two, three step process. Physically, the application process is just like, man, it's like, fuck, my body just doesn't agree with it. Now, you could also make the argument that maybe our bodies, uh, I don't know, perhaps my brain is wired to enjoy specific tasks and not wired to enjoy it. No, but that's not the case because I do enjoy reading, but then you get to a point where you just don't enjoy anything. It's like, you just sort of in that state of like, did I hit record? The OCD or the lack of attention, you could call it that. You're sort of in that state of like, I don't know. I forgot what I was gonna say, but you kind of sort of in that state of like, you're just not interested in anything because of you've been going hard for so long. Like you've just been thinking for so long, you've just been exercising for so long, and then like everything just sort of feels like it's come to a halt. And I guess that's where you kind of just want to take a break and like kind of let your body reset. I wish I could explain that like biologically. This is what happens when you need a reset. I don't really know though, because if I understand the idea, so it's not a question of like reanalyzing my goals. I understand what my goals are and why they make sense and they are desirable. In fact, it almost comes across as common sense. Then again, someone said something interesting where they're like, smart people can convince themselves that something is true. And those are the dangers of being smart. And clearly I'm smart. Yeah, but so it's interesting in the sense of like, maybe I just need a break. Maybe I've been going so hard that at some point I just need to engage in something novel to sort of just like reset and take a step back. Because I know it's not a case of changing paths. It's simply a case of like, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, for me, I see it as the equivalent to like exercising. When you're exercising, fatigue builds up in the muscle, in the cells, the waste gets produced, and you kind of need to take a break so that all those toxins are sort of cleared out, and so that your muscles repair themselves and renew themselves. So I'd assume that it's the same mentally and like just like overall, like you just kind of need to clear out certain things like waste. You just sort of need to let your brain like sort of process things. You just sort of need to spend some time thinking, I guess, passively, of course, and then through that you'll be better, or you'll get better. But then it also kind of begs the question of like, why do humans work like that? Or is it just like something that's specific to me? Is it like specific, exclusive to me? Because I understand that humans have slight variations in like their workflow and their how they operate, etc., etc. Then again, I understand everything through cycles. So there's a cycle for work, there's a cycle for not working, there's a cycle for. So that makes sense to me. It's just maybe I refuse to accept it. Maybe in my head I'm like, no, I'm supposed to hustle and grind till I die. And that doesn't really make sense. Because, first of all, I'm not a hustle or grinder, I'm an explorer. So I don't know, it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. Mm, 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 mm. So to go back to the main point, I said I feel conflicted. I understand that it has nothing to do with the ideas I hold. I understand that level of balance is required. As much as hustling and grinding is cool, you need a bit of novelty. So I understand that. Maybe physically I'm in a place where, well, if everything is truly cyclical, maybe physically I'm in a place where I just sort of need to take a break and sort of just need to work more lightly and kind of just do something different. Uh, yeah, and that would make a whole lot of sense. I'm getting fat. I'm just kidding, I'm bloated. And that would make a whole lot of sense. Yeah. The only question is, how do I take a break? I guess break doesn't really refer to like physically just just going on vacation. Maybe it's just about resting your attention. Maybe we spend time in that highly alert state and we kind of just need to calm down for a second and then like just kind of broaden our focus and then through that we grow. Yeah, sometimes when you say things or when you think, ideas come across as like overly simplistic. And like when ideas come across as overly simplistic, your brain is like, no, it cannot be this easy. I don't know if it's due to programming. I don't know if we've been programmed to think that easy stuff aren't simple stuff aren't real and everything has to be so complicated. Because that would be quite funny. Because I don't think it's something we're born with. Yeah, I doubt it's something we're born with. I don't see any signs of it in like younger people. Younger people just tend to like simplify the world. They're just like do 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 do, and it's like whatever. Whereas older people tend to complicate everything that doesn't need any complication. So maybe when I come to these conclusions, like when I come to the conclusion of, hey, maybe it's just a matter of resting my attention instead of being so alert and stressed and worky all the time, then I'm like, no, it cannot be that easy. There must be something complex. Maybe I should go climb a mountain and find a sage who must give me the secret to life, who must tell me that you must work till the end of times. But that would be like living an incomplete life, wouldn't it? If you understand polarity, you understand that on one end, everything's the same, right? So one end is like not working, and on the other hand, there's like extreme working. No, I don't really get the whole idea of extremism, but then I do understand that like everything gradually shifts from one side to another side. I don't know if that's vibration or polarity, but I think it's both. I think both exist and both are necessary because if one stops existing, then the other loses its value. So maybe we live in that cycle so that we can experience the what we call negative side, which enhances the positive side, or maybe the positive side enhances the negative side. Because hear me out, if you work a lot, you will appreciate occasionally being lazy, right? And then if you're if you're lazy a lot, you will occasionally appreciate working. And I guess it's just about striking that balance. But you also start to understand that most work is useless work, and only about 20% of your work was actually useful or actually revolutionary. But, anyways, I thought I was gonna finish packing the clothes. I got too caught up in my thoughts, folding the clothes. Someone's gonna correct me, say now the correct term is. Well, nobody's gonna correct me. but maybe I'm too self-critical. This was like truly a random stream of thoughts. It was like I was just like thinking at the top of my head, like just processing and shit, like just like thinking, theorizing. Came to the conclusion that balance is important. If you feel conflicted, maybe just take a step back, reanalyze. Most likely, from what I've observed, you come back to normal. You come back being, yeah, I won't say you come back harder, but then you come back being just like with a fresher mind, instead of that like alert, hyper, panicked, I have to work mind, that stressed mind. You come back with like a more calm mind. I don't know, and I guess it will be different for everyone. Maybe, or every day. Some days maybe you just need an hour of rest. Sometimes you need a week of rest. Just depends. I think cause and effect does play a role. If you worked for like 5 hours, most likely you need more rest compared to if you worked for like an hour. Most likely you need the equivalent form of rest. Not, yeah, you get what I'm saying. Oh, it's weird because of you sleep for 8 hours and stay awake for like 16. So that kind of implies that you generally need less rest and more work or something like that. I don't know. I'm not an expert. It's just ideas. The fundamental idea, though, is probably true. Not probably, definitely true. It's just the more detail you add on. I find that the more detail you go in, the more everything just becomes subjective. Subject to contextual information. Sometimes I feel like I stutter, but I don't stutter. I just, not stutter. What is it called? See, I do this thing. I know this now. I do this thing where I'm like, I just pause to think, like pause to retrieve ideas. It's like my thoughts don't like flow like. Well, I guess it's because if it's something I haven't like really premeditated on, it's not like rehearsed. So I'm like trying to capture different ideas. I guess. Holy shit! I'm a YouTuber. I made it. Funny thing is, I wish I did it for money. Then I'd optimize the shit out of everything. But it doesn't fit with my personality, so I'd probably stop. I'd be like, edit this way, clickbait this way. But that's kind of gay. Apparently, that's wrong to say. What is right to say? Because the thing is, well, actually, I think I'm gonna end it there.